Discover how to unlock government grants and find money that you didn't know existed in today's episode with Matthew Lesko. Now, Matthew Lesko is an energetic, passionate advocate with over 40 years of experience helping Americans access billions in government funding. And he's known for his colorful suits and infectious enthusiasm. And he has made it his mission to reveal hidden pathways to financial support to everyday people. And he has over 100 TV appearances on Oprah, Larry King, Live, Good Morning America, and more than 4 million books sold. He's a captivating storyteller, and we cannot wait to hear how anybody can unlock government grants. Now, the first question I have is, what is the secret to your success? And does unlocking government grants have anything to do with that? Welcome to Awakened Titans podcast with Lily Patrascu. Mind-blowing conversations with influential business titans sharing how you can manifest abundance, love, joy, success through quantum awakening, quantum manifestation, quantum healing, quantum miracles, exponential business growth, and innovative products and services.
I lost that point. Does unlocking it have, what was the last phrase?
Unlocking government grants has anything to do with your success.
Oh, well, it has everything to do with my success. Again, people were interested in it. When I was starting this, I had an MBA in computers and a software company. And I was a consultant helping Fortune 500 companies, and they want to know about money and get money for their businesses and everything. So I'd find it for them because I was really a researcher in a way. And I found all these programs in the government, and I did that for about 3 years and helping millionaires become billionaires with government programs. And I got bored at helping them because they're not very interesting, to tell you the truth. They're only interested in money. But what frustrated me more was that, why doesn't everybody know about this stuff? And I grew up in a little coal mining town, and we had no idea of this stuff is out there. So I committed the rest of my life, and even the rest I have now, to showing the average person on the street the benefits for living in this country that nobody tells you about. Because they don't advertise. People learn about the commercial side or the capitalism side where people are making money. And that's fine. It works well, that part. But there's another part for people who don't have money, what to do. And unfortunately, what I saw was that the people who have money use all the other stuff that is really for people who don't have money. But they are smart enough to use it and do it. So I feel we need an advocate for letting people know about those things that don't have money. The government, in our government, gives out an average of like $17,000 to $18,000 in grant money to every adult in the United States every year, and it grows every year, no matter who's the president, who's not. I don't care who's in the White House. This stuff is going, and it solves problems. It helps people. Now, I don't know if you're aware, but America. I wonder where it is. There's a listing of all the developed countries and their poverty rate. Okay. We have more people per capita in poverty than any other developed country. I'm trying to think, the UK has about, they're way down in the middle. Okay. See, we beat you in creating poor people. We're number one.
Oh, God.
The terrible number one to do. But also, what's interesting is we create more millionaires than anybody else. Okay, we create 24 million millionaires, and the UK has only 3 million. Well, you got certainly a smaller population, but we're number one in millionaires and poor people. Man, we just love being number one. No? So the tools that are out there to help, whether you're rich or poor, because even if you have money, there's so many programs to help you improve your life, whether it's starting a business or getting a better job, things like this that people don't know about it, and particularly the last administration is spending billions on this. I mean, and a lot of it is for people who don't have college degrees. So you can get a job without a college degree. Now they have training programs that pay you maybe $40,000 a year for a couple of years to get a $100,000 a year job, and that's without a degree, because we need so many more technical people. And so many jobs in our country now are eliminating the requirement that you need a degree. Because it doesn't say much anymore as it used to. And you need the skills. So the government is training those skills. And I'm sure the UK and a lot of industrial nations do that, but we were a little behind.
Thank you. So tell us what any entrepreneur or wannabe entrepreneur should do in order to unlock these government grants.
Right. Now, that's a good question. Because we go wrong. What we have now is a society that relies on capitalism for everything. And if you want to start a business, people will go to Google and they'll put business grants or something like that. And they'll get maybe 400 million websites, and every website there wants your money. Okay, so they're there to make money off you because they have to pay Google. Okay, the people in the government that give out money, and more importantly, what they give out is expertise. So you could go to this website. Now, people in America go to sba.gov and then /local-assistance, sba.gov/local-assistance. And when you go there, you put in your zip code. And this is a database that our Small Business Administration, which is a government office, collects all the nonprofits that help you for free to start any business, to start a nonprofit, to work on your invention, anything, even just to work at home or be a freelancer or anything like that. And you get free help. You make an appointment with these people. They sit down and show you the possibilities for financing this or how to think of it different. I mean, they help people like this every day for free. Never charge you anything. So that's where you really should start. And don't ask for money, ask for help. Because a lot of things that are available, and you could do and get business doesn't require money. And there's other forms we have. We have loans that you don't pay back. So if you ask for a grant in the government agency, they'll look for grants and forget about this other stuff. So that's what you need is help and people who have a general sense of what's out there that they can match with you. You go into Google and you get lost and you get frustrated and quit, because everything costs you too much money and you won't start. So it really prevents entrepreneurism in my mind, because it shows that you can't do anything in this country unless you have money, and that is absolutely wrong. I got an MBA, and I started my first two businesses with money, as they taught me, and all that kind of stuff, and they both failed. The next three businesses were very successful because I started with no money. So there's always options that you can't find in Google.
Thank you. So you said don't ask for money, ask for help. But what if you actually need money? Because, for example,
yes, well, that will come.
Yes.
See, in other words, and also it is people that are there to help you. In other words, it's like asking me for $1 million. Well, yeah, I could show you, but I know that's stupid to ask for because there's so much involved in that. I mean, you want to make it easier, and you have this target you want up there, but no, it's like, well, I want to play for Manchester United. I want to play football. No, you got to start somewhere else, to do something, to learn the landscape and how to do that. And that's why there's free help to help you do that. That's why you really waste your time like that, because it'll take you longer to find anything, and realizing eventually the hard way that you probably don't need all that money. And there's other ways to do it and that are more available.
Thank you. But imagine that I have already a team, okay? And I know what imagine that I already have a team,
Uh-huh.
Okay. And I know what my team needs to do. And I
Right.
know how to run ads, for example, and I know how to get organic, high quality leads, but I just need, let's say, a large team of people to actually do the work. And I know to
Right.
get those people, I need to pay them, right? So it's like I
Right.
know what I need, and what I need needs money. Okay.
Right.
So in those cases, like how do you access those government grants to allow me to kind of, get a head start with, paying my team and
Okay. Well,
implementing what I know to do? Because let's say if I ask for help, okay, I can ask for help, but then how do I know I'm going to get actually the help that I know I need? Like I need to put money in ads that I know
right.
works, for
Well, I
example.
mean, that's reasonable. I understand. But see, if you went and asked for money, see, there's 15 different ways. Like I know that like people would go to people money or try to borrow it or whatever. And what people won't know, our Department of Labor has money for that. So to train your employees, they have money for you to make more money, but that comes out not of entrepreneuring money, it comes out of training money. See what I mean? So it's not where anybody would think. So that's why you have to get somebody with you to open your mind about the possibilities of where that is, or where that may be. And so the people that help people like you every day to solve these kind of problems is going to be more aware of these other options that people won't know. So you'll be running around just look for a business grant, business grant, business grant. Well, no, you could get training money. That won't be at the same places. Yeah.
Thank you. That
And
sounds
that's
very
what
clever. Yeah, but imagine that my team is actually not UK based and it's not, for example, US based, right? Because a lot of that training
oh,
money
okay.
tends to be for like to train locals or to, I don't know, hire apprenticeship, people that would come to do an apprenticeship with you, whatever. So,
Uh-huh.
how would you kind of actually
Well,
go about finding an actual grant?
I don't know the UK system. All I know is
Let's
the
say in the
US
US,
system.
just to get an example of how you would go about it to find an actual grant. Because all what you're saying is don't go look for a grant, look for help. Okay,
Yes.
but what if you actually need money?
Well, you do, and that's not the point. I know you need money. You do need money, but to find money, say if you get money for business, then you get narrowed down, and you lose so much because I don't have a grant. But you're saying that okay, I need now as you talk to somebody, I need training money, so it'd be somewhere else. So that's why what we have in our country are people that help you with your business. These are consultants that you'll pay for in Google, at least, and I don't know about the UK. I'm sorry, but in the States, you'll pay for consultants to do this, and you could get that consulting help. In other words, a consulting help for how to find money for my business, instead of you looking for the money sources. So you don't want to go direct to the money sources because you don't know that landscape well enough, and you'll waste a lot of time like that. So that's why if you go to the free consultants, mentors, and things like that do that for you, is more efficient than going out and just looking to fill out an application. But no, you're right. I have no idea how the UK works. But if you're in the UK and you want to do business here, they'll give you money to do that. Yeah.
Okay, now let's imagine a practical example. Okay, so I'm organizing large events with 600 entrepreneurs, let's say every year.
Right.
And a lot of money you can say goes towards marketing,
Yes.
and also towards the actual venue. I would say actually the venue and the meals and whatever that tends to
Right.
cost the
Right.
most.
Right.
So how would you go about finding a grant, or let's say grant help, or a consultant help in order to make this happen in the most efficient way
Right.
possible, in a way that this could work, profitably?
Well, do you mean in the UK
Say in
or
the
what
US,
I know
because
in
this
the
is your expertise, and let's say in the US.
Okay, investing in UK. Well, it'd be the same thing. I mean, it would be finding those people. They're experts in marketing. There's a lot of local communities. See, our state and county and city government has grants for small businesses, even just for marketing. They have that. But to me, as an entrepreneur, and this is how I sold millions of books, was not paying for advertising. This is the advantage of dressing like an idiot. That you could get free TV time about that. Or the other way I made a lot of money is not by paying for advertising, but having an advertisement, and I made millions this way, and going to media and say, okay, how much does it cost to advertise there? And they'd give me some price, and I wouldn't know if that's value to me or not. And I said, well, I can afford that, but here's an advertisement, and you advertise this for me if you haven't sold your time to anybody else, and so you could, and I'll give you half the money. So if you advertise, because same way, because my mind is sort of like in retail, when I sold books in a store, they took half the money because they got the customer. So I figured for an advertising, particularly direct response, on the internet or something, I'll give you half the money. And so you have no downside. You don't have to worry about if it's profitable, because it'll be instantly profitable on any sale, and you get half the money. So to me, that's what I would do no matter what country, is show people how they could make money with their space that people aren't paying top dollar for. And so if you have a clever enough ad or something that, because it's all about entertainment on the media, it's not about much else. So you have to find the cracks. There's always cracks in something else. Sure, you won't be the biggest on the block, because that takes all the big time. But, to me, a couple $1 million here and there is good enough to live on. And there's cracks in all the systems that do that. But if you go in the front door and say you want to buy advertising, then you get what everybody else gets, and you get what the rich people can afford.
Thank you. So let's say when you go out and you look for help and assistance from the government, let's say you get these consultants, and do these consultants help you to implement a particular strategy, or do they also help you to actually find money? Or do they help you find ways to do stuff without money? Or is it like the three of them?
The three of them, all things. Their objective is for you to succeed. So if it takes money or option, it's all about you. It's just help like you would be, but they do this every day, so they have more options than you or I would, because we're running a business or something every day. So they've seen people like you come and go through the door and find things, and they've helping them. So you have to see what's out there. You have to match your needs to what's out there. So most of us, though, will say, well, I know what my needs are, and a whole bunch of money will solve the problem. But you have to dig in the society more to see the options that you're not aware of, because you just chose the easy option. And that's fine. The easy options are fine if you have a lot of money. So you go out and look at a lot of money. But that's a pain in the butt, too. So you may have to be clever enough to get around that. And that's what these people can help you do, because they know options, things like that. So if you're, like another thing I would, and this is only in the U.S., back to job training. Our job training people have to train you for an entrepreneur. So to me, if that's what you're doing personally, I'm not positive, but it sounds like what you're doing is doing seminars on all this for people to be entrepreneurs. So I would go to Department of Labor, the local Department of Labor, who are trying to get people to be entrepreneurs, and say, I could do this class for you, that does that. And they pay for everything, because their mission is to train people to be entrepreneurs, And so you have a market, you have everything, the money and things like that. So that's an option that, most of us wouldn't think of. And that's why the only thing you do that is to find people that have been solving this kind of problem a lot more than you or I have, and to see other options that the average person. And that to me, what entrepreneuring is. It's finding ways to do things that's normal. Anybody could start a business, lots of money, and and fail. Yeah. But also, if you learn how to do it without lots of money, that guarantees your success better because you know how to do it in tough times, because every business has a cycle. So you go along very happy for a while, and oh shit, this isn't working, I'm losing money up the ass, and I don't know what to do. So if you start it that way, it's easier to get through the cycles and build on a stronger platform, yourself, instead of just relying on just a gift of big money to do anything you want.
Thank you. So I actually help entrepreneurs to get published. That's my main thing.
Oh.
And my partner and I organize public speaking events for entrepreneurs to become confident speakers and charismatic speakers and leaders.
Right.
So we have thought of doing like a government grant application to help single mothers
absolutely
get access to our training that they would perhaps find unaffordable. And there's one lady who promised us some help in that area. And I do wonder, what's the best way to become successful in your application when you ask for an actual grant for this kind of thing, where you're offering your service to the government in order to help a particular target market?
Is that in the U.S., though, you mean?
Yeah, let's say in the U.S., because that's your expertise.
Right, that's all I know. But no, that's easy part. Those questions to me are easy because the hard part is trying to find the right application. Once you find the right application, that falls into place. But right now, you don't know where the application is, so you're worried about all these things that aren't real yet. Where do I go for dinner, and you don't have a date yet? Or buying a prom dress before you're invited to the prom. So what you have to do is get an invitation to the prom first. And see, at least in our country, people help you with that. I mean, you get free help. I mean, if you go on Google and find grant writers, I mean, they'll convince you they don't. But they do. And what's neat about government help is that everybody's application is public. It's public information. So you could get a copy of a successful application. Somebody got the money last year and see what they did. And don't have to hire a grant writer to do that. So that's why I see that's what we waste time when we go out and invest in grant writers and everything before we even see the application. And then if you see the application and that means reasonable, and before you even fill it out, you contact the office, is this reasonable for me to apply? Instead of just filling out an application, asking every cheerleader for a date, is that reasonable are you a football hero? No. So
the other thing is, for example, I had this idea of helping entrepreneurs to publish a book. And I was thinking of helping them, especially the ones that cannot afford to publish a book, and to do like a collaborative book with stories of entrepreneurs that deserve to be published, but simply don't have the budget to do that. And how would you go about, for example, asking for a government grant, or to kind of ask for help in the way that you mentioned to make this happen, to publish a collaborative book of stories that transform the world for people that cannot afford to publish their own book?
There's two ways. I mean, I published, probably 100 books and used New York publishers that published about 12 books for me, and I flunked English in college, and I have 2 New York Times bestsellers. So to me, with starting without any money, there's a couple ways. I think one is you do an outline, a proposal, and you find an agent. And there's literary agents, and so you send that proposal to literary agents and to see if they know a publisher that would buy something. Because see, like when I did first books for New York, they give you a grant up front to do the book because they think they could sell it. Okay, and so you get that, you write it, and then if it sells or not, and then then I promoted it a lot myself to make sure if the first book sold a lot, then I would get a bigger grant the next time. So I would get in a car and go city to city and be on talk shows in every city I could to try to push those sales. So it wasn't relying on the publisher or anything. And then when you get a big grant in front from the publisher, then they have to do the marketing because they got to get all that money back that they gave you. When they give you a little bit money, they don't care. They just throw it on the wall. Maybe it'll stick, something will happen. So you have to publish it yourself. So that's way one. Okay. The other way is, I think if you're I would do something like maybe do a community. This is what works for me, is community-based stuff now. After people stopped buying reference books, I mean, I was out of business. I made a fortune on reference books until I found the community aspect where people want to learn that way. So if you develop a community online, and free at first, because you have to know what people want. And the only way you know what people want is you give them something to react to, not do market research. Will you buy this? You know, people be nice, and that's not real. When you ask them for money, then you know if it's sellable or not. So you do a website that maybe will attract authors, you know, because you say it's a collaborative thing on success stories. So if you did a website of some sort, success stories, and just on social media start slowly promoting that in your other venues. So you have a community that's interested in that, contributing to that, or whatever. And that will develop into products you never thought about, maybe how people really want to do that. So those success stories. So you start putting, just a few success stories on this collaborative venture you're looking at. So you say, hey, here's share your success stories here and whatever. So you got people want to read those success. So you're building, not only the product, but a market for it, before you invest any money on it, or little. I mean, this would be, little to nothing. And it looks like you do those interested in those kind of people anyway. So they have a place to contribute this. So your own marketing to beginning, and see how that grows. And because to me, everything at least I've done ever, the only businesses that worked were the ones I started with a different concept, but eventually came into something different. But you can't tell that. To me, it's like you're an artist, okay? And I don't know, I can't draw or paint, save my life. But I imagine you have a vague idea about something, and you put a stroke of paint on a canvas, but that stimulates something else that you didn't think of, and that leads to, so the final product turns out to be different. So trying to look at the final product when you don't even have a brush stroke on it, is dangerous. And that's what I think failure is. And then I think the other part of that failure is that we're looking for experts to tell us what to do. And then we go to experts because you don't know what the product is. So we have all this fine experts that make sense. And we get this thing that is no longer from your heart, but it's from all these experts, and it fucking fails. And then you just blame the experts and you don't learn from it. So I believe by you putting your heart and soul in something. That's why I use question mark, but now hearts are more important, because if your heart's not in it, it's not going to work. And that's the problem with experts. They tell you, because none of us know what the hell to do in life. We're all scared as hell and don't know what we're doing. So we go to experts, to help us. And they don't know either, but they have to make you believe they know so they could charge a hell of a lot of money. They can't say, I have no fucking idea what I'm doing, but hey, try this, which is really what it is.
Part of what I'm doing is also PR. So I'm wondering, in terms of PR, what
PR,
are some of the most exciting things that have worked for you in terms of attracting more funding, more money, more opportunities for you? Is it
this is what works for me.
Wonderful, or what would you say are some of the most exciting strategies you've used in order to be booked to speak, or on TV or on the radio or on so many in the media, to be featured in the media? And what was the kind of like messaging that you used, or was it just your appearance that was like very attractive?
Well, I mean, the thing about media, you have to get someone's attention. I mean, I used to be a professor in computer science, and there were adults getting a degree in computer science. And I found, they're working all day and then try to get a degree at night. If I didn't keep them awake, I couldn't teach them anything. So that to me is what the media is all about. And that's why you see all these. This is why like Trump does so well. He just explodes and says crazy shit, and people, media loves that. So he doesn't have to spend any money on the media. And when I saw him first doing it, hey, that's what I do, and that's what I was able to get on talk shows. Like I did Oprah 3 times. I think Larry King maybe a dozen or so, and because I'm here to entertain people. And my parents did not admit I was their son for the first 10 years on TV because I just acted crazy, and they wanted me to be some erudite professor or something. Man, I can't help anybody at that. Nobody will pay attention. It's a fight for attention, and media now is a fire hose. So you have to fight that, and that's why everybody else will tell you what's safe to do by some conglomerate because they were successful, but they have $1 billion fucking dollars. So you can't compete with that. You can't do that. You have to shine out through all that noise. And so that means you have to be different. You have to be provocative in a way. But you have to be honest and stand by anything that you say. And that's why when people say, oh, you say you make $1 million, well, I'll give you your money back no matter what. Because you could say anything. You say, it's illegal to say that. No, it's not. It's illegal if you take people's money. And if people don't like what you did and you think you lied, you just give them their money back, and then you never get in trouble. It's all about money. So that's and that's a trial and error method. And the problem, and that's another thing, if you start spending money on doing anything, you'll run out of money before you figure out what works. And so the name of the game is staying alive long enough till you figure it out. So that's why you don't spend money. You do it without money. So you're still in the game, and you're learning. Every time you do, you learn that, and you're learning yourself. See, I believe that if you take your own ideas and do it, you learn more from the failures. Because if you take somebody else's idea, do it, then you just call the other person a jerk. I shouldn't have listened to him, and you don't learn from it. You don't pull it apart enough to learn from the slings and arrows. And so if you take your own ideas and put your heart in it, and then when it fails, then you have the resource. I mean, you want to learn why it failed more. If you have an excuse why it fails, that guy's crazy, then you don't learn from, but why? It's the customer that didn't like it. Why didn't they like it? That's the important thing.
So what was provocative about what you were saying in the media, for example? Give us some examples of the kind of things you would say that would like trigger the media to kind of follow you around and give you opportunities, including, let's say, Oprah or Larry King or some of the big shots.
Well, a lot of it is just, it's a style. I'm crazy. I walk down the street and everybody smiles at me. That's wonderful. I don't get that at home anymore. And that's so nice. But it's provocative. What do you say? I look for headlines. It's all about headlines. I go through government programs and look at them. There's a program called Urban Homesteading Act. Okay. Now, this is money the government has to get rid of houses, that they insured and people defaulted on them, and they're stuck with these houses, and so they give them away cheap. So what I do, I look at that and think, God, okay, urban homesteading, I can't call that. Nobody's going to know. So I put a headline like, houses for $1. You want a house for $1? That's what it is, because they give them away for at least $1. And then a grant to fix it up or whatever. So how do you stop people to watch and listen? That's why in the beginning, when I was dressing like this, we were cable television, so everybody had 100 channels, and they'd flick through their channels, So that's why I figured if they saw me, what's that idiot? Who's that? What the hell? Even if they didn't have the audio on, it would stop them. I remember the first time I did the Today Show, what was in my mind, and that was like maybe the first big national show I did, and I said, if they say, next is Matthew Lesko to talk about government information, I figure in the morning, everybody goes to the bathroom when they hear that and start brushing their teeth. So my theory is I got to get them out of the bathroom. So I say, well, Jane, yeah, you can get a lot of, do you know you get a house for $1? You know, you get $55,000 to get a new career? Or how about fix up your house? $50,000. So I see everybody coming out of the bathroom. What's that idiot talking about? Brushing their teeth. And unfortunately, if you have a lot of money not to do it, if you don't have the money, then you have to use what tools are comfortable for you to use, because that's where you're going to do the best. Whatever is weird about you, you take that and blow it up in spades, because nobody could be weird like you're weird.
And the reason I love it is because my partner and I are very funny. And it's interesting, right? Like it's especially interesting if you have to say it. That's the thing that makes it funny, that we're very funny. And I'm a funny introvert, which means that I'm funny, but nobody knows about it, right?
Right.
My partner is actually funny, and
well, see, if you love that's terrific. Everything you do now should be a joke involved.
Yeah, exactly. So
and that because you want to do that, so don't you?
Yeah, exactly. So my partner is, he is very funny, especially on stage and also in interviews. And he has his own podcast called Unstoppable Podcast. And what's so funny about it is that I've been, pestering him for about 5 years to start this podcast. And he was like, no, because, I have this accent and I speak a lot of grammar mistakes and this kind of thing. He's from Cuba and half Spanish. And what I find is that actually, a lot of people have seen us together and they were saying, you guys are like TV gold. You're so funny together and you should be on TV. And they kept kind of comparing us to other couples that were on TV for many years, for 30 years or whatever. And I find it takes a lot of courage to show up as you authentically are. But I think that when you do finally kind of have the courage, and for me, it's taken me a really long time to start kind of gradually showing that fun side of me. I find that when you finally show up as your authentic self, you start to really attract the kind of people like you. Like, for example, I am madly in love with like your entire look. It's perfect. And the reason I love it is because I love every person that shows as their authentic self, especially the fun people, because this is who I am, and this is who my partner is. And I find that when you are truly happy, that's when you can like really attract the right people in your life. You have more fun, you're healthier, you feel like you're living. Like really.
Absolutely.
And
well, that's what it took a lot of courage for me to do this initially. Man, oh God, it was terrible. But this was me inside wanting to get out. And now that I've done it, I see, which is so great, it's a filter. Because if you like this, I know I'm going to like you. If you hate this, we're saving each other lots of time, because this is really me. So we don't have to waste each other's time.
Yeah, exactly. And I find that I've always been attracted to people who are like not so much conservative, but more about, showing the fun. Because I find that when you dare to have fun, when you dare to be yourself, when you dare to kind of like have a joke and a laugh, even if you're having very serious meetings, that you can have serious meetings. Right. But at the end of it, at least you need to be able to like, have fun with it. Because at the end of the day, what are we here for? We're here to have fun. And I get the impression that your fun has been one of the key elements of helping you to attract a lot of, money from different sources, PR opportunities, media, being on TV, and it's all about showing up as your authentic brand. I love that. Thank you so much for this. And
one other thing I want to add to this, because it's very important to me now, is love. I mean, it's a part of life that we all have, that particularly males in this country, and I would think even maybe more in Britain, I don't know, I never even said the word. I mean, my house, I don't know, people really said it, when I grew up. They were nice people, but especially growing up as a male until the last few years, I'm going to lay that out. And that's why love, when you open your heart, and that's why I call it sort of opening your heart, that's like showing yourself, but another part of yourself. So if you have that love that you show disarms people also. And that's what and like even my service now, I said, we're loving. We're going to come on, help. We're going to love the shit out of you.
I'm so glad you said it, because I've also been on a journey of self-love. And I think for a long time, I used to actually dislike myself, so much so that I used to even say, I'm quite annoying. And sometimes I would say in a sarcastic way, but I gradually transformed that, with affirmations. And now I find that not only I love myself more, but I'm finding more love from the people around me. I'm also attracting more loving, more fun people that I actually like into my life, like you. And I find that when you kind of start to go on this journey of self-love, and also when you're sharing your love to other people around you, when you're an expression of your deep love inside you, and you show that around the world, that's when you kind of attract more opportunities. You become more magnetic when you are on.
I believe in that very much. And the other thing was my idea what love is. And to me, I started thinking about this maybe in my late 40s or early 50s, was that love is, and I grew up in a family where we all controlled each other. That was love, telling other people what to do. And now I feel loving is helping. If I love you, I have to help you do whatever you want to do. And not to be judgmental, because we don't know what to do with our own lives. So what gives us the right, the audacity to think that we could tell somebody else what to do with their life when they're struggling every minute of their life on what the hell to do? So when they have something they think is right for them, you have to help them do it. If they have your opinion, you think it's not, you say that, but you still have an obligation, I feel, to help them do whatever they feel they should be doing, because life is terrible. It's just going to beat you up no matter what you do. So you have to have people that love you go through that with you and help you do it, because you want to get beat up that way. So no matter what you do, you're going to get beat up. So if you take what you really want to do, and the people around you are helping you do that, crazy or not, then that's love.
Thank you. Where can entrepreneurs find you?
Leskohelp.com. Leskohelp.com.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential business titans, providing you with the insights to awaken to your full potential, so you can get paid to be yourself, find true happiness, and manifest anything you desire.